This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? We're doing well. Tonight's live stream is going to be on how safe do you feel in this country today? Because I've been seeing a lot of comments on other channels about people don't feel too safe in this country, especially if you're conservatives, right? I mean, we got conservative speakers that are canceling shows and stuff because of what's going on. So how safe do you feel, the average person? And then we're going to talk about how our government's out of money again. Boy, it'd be nice if they just balance the budget, wouldn't they? How much taxes would go down if they'd actually have a balanced budget? Taxes always seem to have to go up because they can't balance the budget. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But first, since I got to wait for some people to show up, we'll always get that one person in here that stops in real quick and then leaves. But anyway, you know, going into these stores, and whether they be regional big box stores or you know what I'm talking about, right? And there's some of the older ones, they'll have 6 or 8 registers, no self-checkout, which I'm so sick and tired of self-checkout, but they only got one register open. One thing about self-checkout, if you got to check out your own groceries or your own stuff, you should get 5% discount right off the top because they're not having to hire that person to do that. But you go in these stores and all there is 6 to 8 people in a line and one register going. And it seems like nowadays everything's supposed to be faster, but it seems like everybody takes 5 to 10 minutes to check out. Anyway, I tell you what, cash is just so much easier. You sit there and you bring the price up, throw the cash down, that's it. But, you know, going into these stores and the customer service we got today just absolutely stinks. Okay, my time is worth something too. You know, me having to sit in line when we have a problem with people need jobs, right? If you got 5 registers that are empty and you only got one that's running, maybe you need to hire some more people. I mean, obviously I'm waiting in line. It's not like they have a customer problem. Well, we can't get the help or whatever. No, you just don't want to help. I hear stories about people that apply for jobs and they don't ever get a call back because places aren't hiring. They say they're creating jobs, but they're not hiring. But you know what? This waiting in line because they don't want to have all the registers running, that's not the way I remember stuff when I was growing up. But anyway, let's get on the subject. How safe do you feel in the United States today after the Charlie Kirk incident? Because a lot of people that I'm getting comments from other channels and other YouTubers that are getting comments where people aren't, they got their third eye always, you know, they walk around like I do being in the military, you know, I always, you know, always observing everything. And people are being more conscious of their situation, what's going on around them. And, you know, people are seeing, they're walking around with their eyes open now. Maybe not so much as their phone and their face in their phone as they're walking around. But, you know, things are bad. Okay. I'm not going to sit there and say you shouldn't feel unsafe, especially if you're in the big city. Yeah, you need to, no matter what. Anyway, things are getting crazy, right? Your friend Farman, enjoy your channel. Hey, I appreciate it. Yep, I tell you what, you probably already subscribed already, but you know, YouTube's pretty tough on me. Yep. I don't know where do you, your friend farming. Yeah, I'm out here in Nebraska in the Panhandle. I grew up on a farm in Minnesota. Same type of situation out here. Farm place every once in a while, you know, gravel roads every mile and stuff. Crazy time. Anyway. But, you know, you people in the big city, we got both sides now, MAGA and the liberals, wanting to get at each other's throats. All right? I'm not saying what happened to Charlie Kirk was a good thing, because it was a bad thing. Okay? I'm a conservative. Constitutional conservative, not a Republican conservative. But, you know, settling your differences that way isn't the way to do it. Okay? If somebody disagrees with you, you got to shoot them. I mean, what the hell's wrong with this country? We used to be able to disagree in this country without people getting shot. All right. Or maybe Charlie was saying the truth that this individual didn't like, and that's probably what the situation was. But according to the liberals, there's no motive for the assassination yet. But anyway, then you got MAGA now is all out in the uproar, and they talk like the Democrats talk. We need to start restricting the First and Second Amendment. You know, transgender shouldn't be able to buy a gun. You know, stereotyping and clumping everybody together. And they already are restricting our rights, what they're not allowed to, okay? The Bill of Rights in the preamble basically says when the government starts infringing on these first 10 Amendment rights, and the 10th Amendment states when the federal government starts infringing on the 10th Amendment that you states hold, it's time to enact the Declaration of Independence. But we don't live in that country no more. You know, maybe if we didn't have these politicians and their god-awful policies, why don't we just follow law? Immigration law. You know, our government is not allowed. Their one job they have is to secure our money supply. Well, they failed on that. Somebody needs to go to jail for that. And that'll lead us into the next subject, our government always being out of money. But somebody needs to be in trouble for that. You know, all these 24 years ago on September 11th, we were all united. Didn't matter what your color was, your nationality was, your gender, what that was kept in the closet, but we were all Americans back then. 24 years later, look at where we're at. You think that was caused by the average guy going, or the average woman going to work every day, paying their taxes? Do you think that's what got us here? No, it's the policies of our politicians and them dividing us, and then us getting angry. We need to be getting angry at the government. But they got us played against each other now, where people are understanding the dangers of walking outside. Boy, it's just starting to look like all those countries that I went to when I was in the Marine Corps, in the Middle East and stuff. Boy, just like it's coming here for some reason. Now, I don't feel that way, but people in America, you're starting to feel the fear, right? The fear that other people feel in other nations that we were immune from. Brought on by our own government. You know, we need to start treating mental illness again. You know, instead of encouraging it, treating these people that have issues. And tell them, no, that's not the right way to live. We can't be doing this. I mean, this is the thing. If you don't correct mental illness when they're in kids and young adults, what are they going to do if these people reach to be 80 years old and their mental illness was never corrected? There's no way they can become functioning adults, let alone seniors. I mean, this Tyler Robinson was supposedly a great kid. Went off to college for 4 years. Yeah, he changed, didn't he? But then a lot of it has to do with, you know what? You're not allowed to hear the other side. Or it's shadow ban, like trying to find my channel. You know, censorship and shadow banning hasn't gotten no better under Trump. It's actually probably got a little worse. That's why I say that Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and the whole Republic, you know, who's ever in charge. I'm not going to say the average mega voter, but you know what? They're all on the same team, buddy. They're all trying to destroy the United States of America and pit us against each other. Now, I will admit that the left is definitely a little bit more radical. I was watching Prepared Homestead, and he's talking about, and he's right, that the right always says, well, we're not supposed to fear these spaghetti arm flat, because they got a flat tummy and they got spaghetti arms, they think they're tough, right? Well, those are the ones that are killing people right now. I don't see any conservatives. Like I say, we needed our country needed a reset back to the Constitution many years ago. Many years ago. And now everybody's starting to wake up to how dangerous it is, okay? But you live in the big city, I really don't have to worry too much out here. Let me give you old Gander, everybody a shot. See, I kind of live in a wide open area. My closest neighbor is 2.5 miles away. And this isn't even isolated for the Panhandle of Nebraska. You get up in the pasture grounds, it's really pretty cool. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I live in. People felt freedom like this. They wouldn't to let the government sit there and run over them like they have. Guess nobody's farming here anymore. Looks like ever do any fishing? Oh yeah, I'm from Minnesota, believe me. See, this is the thing, right? I only fish Minnesota because once you fish Minnesota, especially northern Minnesota, anywhere else in the country, unless you go to Alaska or maybe, isn't really fishing, okay? I'm not going to sit in a boat for hours hoping I might even get a strike when all I got to do is cast out, boom! Oh, that's a 4-pound walleye. We'll throw it back. The only time I keep a small walleye is when I'm eating them. Otherwise, I'm in for that. I tell you what, fishing in Minnesota is something else. So anyway, oh yeah, I love fishing. I got a big fish story too, but I'm not going to get into that one here. Some might call it a sea story, but I had the wife at the time with me, and that was a big damn fish. But see, that's what you get out here. The peace and quiet, like I say, you can hear and see freedom and liberty out here. Actually see and hear it. I don't believe hearing freedom is sirens going by and endless cars and all that stuff. I don't call that freedom. I call that existing, okay? Existing, and then they want to make 15-minute cities. Anybody ever watch Logan's Run? Anyway, that's the world we live in, right? So if you're feeling unsafe in today's world, I don't blame you. Sad state of affairs. Not everybody's tactically trained like a Marine, combat Marine. But, everybody might get a little experience in the near future if this craziness keeps up. Like I say, let just one more political assassination happen, whether it's a liberal or a MAGA, okay, or Republican. Let it happen. This country's going to blow the hell up. Okay, if Charlie Kirk would have been a Democrat, how many cities would have been burnt to the ground already? Not everybody's crazy. No, I know not everybody's crazy, but there's a lot of people. This is the thing. Somebody who's on antidepressants and antipsychotics and all these brain medications tells me that I'm not thinking right. Okay, how? If you need a pill to think right, obviously you're not thinking right. Anyway, let's get to the second part of this subject now. Now I hear that there's going to might be a government shutdown and they're playing all these games. We know who gets shut down. The parks get closed and stuff. It's not like any of the big money, the money that they use to control us is ever shut down or spy on us. Those agencies ain't ever shut down. It's just, stuff to help out Americans. Why does our government always have a funding problem? Why? Simple. They don't live within their budget. $38 trillion in debt and growing. In the Constitution, it says that the Congress must release to the public and I hate how they say every once in a while on how taxes are spent. Do you think this country would be $38 trillion in debt if every citizen had access like Elon Musk did to how government money was being spent? No. See, screwed people's heads. You have the right to see everything, not just Elon Musk and Doge. They have to release it to us. I'm sure that hasn't, since Teddy Roosevelt, I'm sure that probably went. Because after that, we got the Federal Reserve and all that shit with Woodrow Wilson. Like I say, all you got to do is follow the money. You know how many crimes we'd uncover if they had to release how all the money was spent? I mean, let's make our Congress, our government live by the Constitution and make them release on how we are $38 trillion in debt to the average American. We're the one paying for this shit. You know, they always sit there and need more money. They never sit there and, oh, you know what? We balanced the budget. We actually spent less. They never don't, they always need more. They never give back. I like this guy streaming, but I have to leave because of the hateful. I know, I tell you what, Harry, great. I don't watch the chat, but this is what this world we live in. How are we supposed to solve our problems when a simple guy can't eat out in the panhandle of Nebraska, can't even sit there on a live stream and get nothing but hate? We can't discuss anything in this country anymore as a people. You know, go ahead and shoot each other. You ain't going to be coming out here. For one thing, you got to be able to take care of yourself out here. There's not a Starbucks or nothing like that. But yeah, I get hateful comments nonstop. But don't worry, YouTube can't see that. Okay? YouTube can't see that. No, they don't see. You know, when I get my life threatened and stuff like that, YouTube can't see that. They want to make this a safe and happy platform for everybody. Right? And I'm just, you know, this is why, another reason why I've taken, Kirk hated single Muslims so much that, yeah, he left his wife and kids. Hey, Richard, why don't you comment some more, bitch? I tell you what, these fucking people. You're in the yes, I am. I'm in Nebraska. See, this is what I'm saying. When stuff goes nuts, all these trolls and shit that leave these comments on all these live streams are going to be dead within a month. They're just, I mean, it's like, I swear to God, YouTube hires some of them to destroy their country, their company, but they're actually helping destroy their country and make it into a war zone. They're doing their own little thing. Well, I hope they all think it's funny when you got the mob coming down the street shooting your ass. And then maybe, hey, that guy said that we shouldn't have been doing this. You know, there's no reason, you know, you don't have to like everything, but I mean, you got to act like a bunch of rash children that all you can do is say harsh stuff. That's the only thing that can come out of your mouth. What problems are you solving? These are the people that we're supposed to have intelligent conversations with. You can only have an intelligent conversation with somebody who's intelligent. Number one rule about an intelligent conversation. If you got to sit there and, like I say, you're going to have a discussion on algebra, right? And some guy, yeah, and you got to sit there and teach him what 2 + 2 is. You're not going to have an intelligent conversation. Okay? So, you know, Richard, you're something else. I hope, you know, do unto others as you want done unto yourself. Remember that. That's a good rule to live by, Richard. So anyway, let's see. Just a second, people. See you later, Richard. Bye-bye. I'm learning this new thing, but Richard, you can come back tomorrow. But I tell you what, thanks for the comments and thanks for being here and helping the analytics of my channel. That's one thing about the trolls, man. They want to live off chaos. Okay, even a good company know that, like the jeans, Sydney Sweeney, all the chaos and stuff that was created because she was selling jeans. Look how many jeans they sold. Okay, YouTube knows the same thing. That's why I know they hired it. And some of it too is AI bots trying to get people to argue in the chat. Okay. Oh yeah. Everything to try to create hate and discontent and division. So you can sit there and be afraid if you got to walk to the store to get some groceries. Okay? Yep, bye-bye, Richard. Like I say, I don't like censoring people, okay? But I got to sit there and hit a thing, no, this is not made for children. And that goes for adult children too. I mean, if I were to be having a meeting in my house, a YouTube channel meeting in my house, and I had my moderators and people that support the channel there, and I had somebody walk in my door and act like a troll, I'd grab him by the scruff of the neck and his belt, throw him the fuck out the door. Flat out. Who else wouldn't do that? I give people a chance, but when you're going to sit there and be rude, obnoxious, and stupid, like I say, I'm not going to deal with children. We got adult problems in this country. Problems that are going to be affecting everybody real soon. And we got to deal with children, adult children. What do? I guess that's what this is what social media must have created. Because I know when I was growing up and I was in my early 20s and 30s, before all this technology took off and stuff, people didn't converse like that. Okay, when you talk to somebody, you talk face to face. And if you talk to somebody on the phone, you knew you were probably going to see them again. And you didn't sit there and talk stupid trash like that. For one thing, you didn't want to come off as a uneducated moron. And, you definitely didn't want to cause problems with somebody that could do you a beat down. People respected each other more. But now since everything, and I love the trolls, they'll sit there and hide. These people protesting, they got masks on and they're just all covered up. You know what I do? I just start pulling masks down. Fuck you. I'm not out here on YouTube hiding my face. But anyway, getting back to the subject about the government running out of money. Okay, they need to live within a budget. We all got to live within a budget. I mean, if your household budget, let's say you made $100,000 a year and you were at first $1 million in debt, right? And your credit card company and bank were stupid enough to decide to lend you more money to help you get out of your financial bind. So they lend you $2 million to get out of your $1 million in debt. But during that time of paying off that $1 million, you went $4 more million in debt. So then they sat there and was stupid. Does that happen to anybody? Modern economics is not what I learned in school. 2 + 2 does not equal 4 anymore. When they figure debt is an asset, only if somebody's paying for it. All this stuff is so stupid. I got $1 million in debt. I'm a rich man. Since freaking when? But that's the way the government looks at it. And we got too big to fail and too big to jail. So they can do whatever they want. Now their kids will always have a silver spoon in their mouth because their companies are too big to fail. Always have a silver spoon in their mouth. The capitalist system doesn't apply to them because they can run their company into the ground. We need $50 billion overnight, or we're going to have the whole pitchforks and the torches out, right? They asked for 50 billion and they got almost a trillion in 2008. Remember that? Asked for 50 billion and almost got $1 trillion. Papillon, I don't know where that is in Nebraska. in eastern Nebraska. I'm out here out west. That's probably over there in the eastern part of Nebraska or something, or it could be somewhere, but I've never heard of that town in Nebraska. But, this is one thing about where we live in Nebraska. We consider ourselves eastern Wyoming, okay? But we're ruled by Omaha and Lincoln. Like a lot of, isolate or rural areas, are conservative mindsets are ruled by liberal big city mindset. Because, when you only got counties that have less than all the counties around me, less than 2,000 people in. There's parts of the Panhandle of Nebraska that have just a little over 1,000 people in the county. How are you supposed to, in all that ground? But then again, the ones who want to take over got to occupy all that ground, right? You may have one person for every 20 square miles up there in the pastures, but I guarantee you have probably 20 guns for every square mile too. And they all know how to use it. Oh, that deer's 1,000 yards away. Okay, bang! It's one thing about here, we solve problems. We don't play around. Keep speaking up for the Americans. We all love you're doing great. Yep. Well, thank you. Like the shorts I did. Like Obamacare. In this. It went the Congress passed it. The House of Representatives passed this spending deal. They have to, in the Senate, it turned it down because the Democrats, want $40 billion to subsidize Obamacare. Awful strange to me, since Obamacare is a tax, right? Chief Justice John Roberts. So we're subsidizing a tax. See, this is the thing. It's a business, okay? And where Americans are forced to participate in this business, just like Americans are forced to participate in Social Security, your only financial account where you are forced to put money into, deposit money into, but the government controls the withdrawals. All this government takeover is beyond crazy. Yeah, politicians, they shouldn't be able to trade stock. You know what, politicians? They need their pay cut in half. They need to be put in barracks in Washington, D.C. Just like when I was in the Marine Corps, I was in barracks. You're serving your country. You're put in barracks. They got a secretary in themselves, so they got to do the work. Okay? There's lots of things in this stock, buying stock, this. The trading they do that is just so masterful. It's like once they get into Congress, they just figure out how to be the most masterful financial people alive. AOC, Nancy Pelosi. Worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Yep. But then again, she's been in Congress for the last 1,000 years though, right? Oh no, I guess I'm wrong there, right? Insider trading. When you make the rules. But like I say, all we got to do is stop it. Everything that our government's doing, we're allowing. Flat out, all these bugs. It's such a nice night. I didn't think I'd deal with the bugs, but yep, they're out. But anyway, hey Zaya. But yeah, things are going to get crazy. Just imagine if the left starts hurting, if EBT cards aren't filled, and Medicaid and Medicare, where they can't go to the doctor like they want to, gets canceled. Woo! You're going to see really bad stuff in the streets when that happens. If both sides of political leadership stop with the Democrats versus Republican illusion, stop with the Democrats. I'm a conservative. I don't agree with either goddamn side. Okay, I don't see the country through a red lens or a blue lens. I see it through clear lenses that the founding fathers saw through, with the same mindset that they had after they had just won a revolution against a tyrannical government. Okay? Before social services, before highways and all that shit, where they decided, hey, let's give the people freedom, liberty in their pursuit of happiness, and we'll protect that. Let's let them sit there and enjoy their God-given rights, and as a government, we'll protect them. Hey, how's it going, J99? You got here? I'm about to get off. I had to get rid of one guy out on here. He was being a little... problem is we are being controlled by a foreign entity. Yeah, that old hoax list may have a lot to do with the puppet masters, where you can see the strings now on the people that, but that's the state of affairs in this country. Our politicians are all bought. And if I'm sure in Washington, if you don't join one of the sadistic clubs, you're not elected again. You either come to DC and be part of the swamp or get out. Like I say, all we got to do is start enforcing laws of this country. Drain the swamp like you said you were going to, Trump. Drain the swamp. And then a lot of problems that are the people in this country will be taken care of. Anyway. Oh, your daughter came home for a visit? That's awesome. So anyway, but yeah, I had one guy on here, J99, he goes, I like your content, but he had to leave because of hateful comments. I mean, I wonder, are they all going to forget about this when the bullets start flying? Maybe we'll start acting a little bit more, how can you say, civil to each other? That'd be most, I don't know. But we sure aren't being civil to each other now, so I guess we'll just take it to the next step worse. Anyway, also J99, I decided on my channel, I'm going to do live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm going to do a video over the weekend, and I'm just going to do my shorts throughout the day. See if I can throw off the algorithm. Because like I say, the harder I hit my channel, the harder they clamp down. So, I guess when you piss the algorithm off too much, imagine that. Pissing off a computer so bad that the computer stifles your freedom of speech. But don't worry. I love how the left now, after the Charlie Kirk and all this, and Jimmy Kimmel being fired, we need freedom of speech. Can't be hindered, right? And didn't your presidential candidate say that the First Amendment needs to have restrictions? Like, what politician do you follow? What they say this week is going to be different next week. Because they probably got more money from a different people to say what they had to say. Hey, if ever you like the content, please hit the thumbs up, to subscribe, and the bell notification. Help the channel grow. Appreciate it. Like I say, I don't sell anything. You need to get the information out. What I love about these YouTube channels, I'll sit there and talk about how the economy sucks, right? And then they'll try to sell you something. I mean, I'm not on here for the money. Okay? I'm on here to give my opinion what's going on. And I tell you what, if this stuff keeps going on, I'm headed to the mountains, to my dugout. Well, I still can. Because I don't like the way the world's going, this country's going right now. I don't like what MAGA is saying, especially when they say pretty much the same thing, the nasty, stupid stuff the Democrats said about our rights. This country will not survive as the United States of America, obviously, if we don't have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's not going to survive. If we go under government control, I mean, well, we renamed the Gulf of Mexico, well, we'll just rename America. United Socialist States of America. And that's what it'll be. The Republicans love social programs just as much as the Democrats do. But see, the Republicans don't have to say they do because they know the Democrats are pushing them. So just like, we'll let them do the heavy lifting. Anyway, like I say, wings of the same bird, people, wings of the same bird. And now they got it to the point where people are apprehensive about going out in public. And they always need more money. We ain't got no more money to give them. You know, Trump's sitting there talking, he's getting 10% from, what was it, Intel in the Oval Office. Oh, I just made the government $11 billion. I mean, the government's not allowed to own any part of a company. Like I say, if the government has 10% ownership of Intel, I would buy Intel stock because that's going to do nothing but go up. Sure the hell ain't going to go down. The government isn't going to lose money. But how he's talking about, yeah, you may not see it, but the government's making a lot of money now. Yeah, because you're taking it all from us. Yeah, we're feeling it. We can see you guys living high on the hog and the average person having to sit there and count every penny. See, this is the thing. Most billionaires, millionaires, especially when they live that lifestyle for many years, do not understand the guy who makes 40 to 50,000 a year or even 100,000 a year. They don't understand you at all. They could never live your lifestyle and they'll never understand you. So you want to sit there and have faith in those people that they're going to do what's right for you? Go for it. I don't. Okay? Two wings of the same bird. And, you know, the next president, what we're going to be about, let's see, Trump's got 3 more years. That's what we're going to be about $43 trillion in debt. You know, we'll be $50 trillion in debt by 2030 if this shit doesn't stop. And like I say, in the Constitution, it says that the Congress must release to the public on how all taxes are spent. What do you think would happen the next day if the average civilian had access to constitutionally what the average civilian does have access to on how our government spends our taxes? Follow the money, $38 trillion in debt, I think we'd see a few crimes. What do you think? Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. These bugs are bad. Little dang bugs. Guess it hasn't been cold enough. It's going to be a nice weekend, though. But I'm going to put out a video this weekend, maybe something a little different. Some more shorts because unless something serious happens. But, you know, it's a crazy world. Like I say, they just keep piling more stuff on and more stuff on. Whether it be domestically or world wide, just keep piling more stuff on. It's like, how much stress can the world take before it just breaks? You know, are we close to the breaking point? Well, it seems like Americans are starting to think so. And if you're in a big city, stay safe. And just because somebody doesn't agree with you doesn't give you the right to harm them. Jeepers cripes, communists all think the same. Americans are different from each other. If you don't like that, then get the hell out of our country. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. We'll break before the planet does. I pity the animals. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, humans can destroy the earth now, not even thinking about the other species that inhabit it. Isn't that kind of a selfish thought? Anyway, and the thing is, 10 miles behind me are the silos where things fly out of them and go to other continents and go boom. The next county over. Yep. So I better make sure I got a good warning. But it's such a nice place to live. But anyway, yeah, they're just 10 miles away. That's where they start. Makes it really real when, like I say, back when I was growing up, the U.S. and Russia didn't sit there, the only two big nuclear powers, the only big nuclear powers. They didn't sit there and try to piss each other off. Try to sit there, we did, things in a way to make sure we calm the other side. Now it's just the talk is crazy. Oh, we're going to do this if you do that, whatever. If our politicians would have talked like that in the 60s, 70s, and 80s like they do now, we would have been at nuclear war. Easily. So anyway, crazy times, people, crazy times. But I appreciate everybody being here. Like I say, if you like the content, hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. And I'll see you guys again. Hey, Sonny, how's it going? How's it going? I'm getting out of here, but my David, except sophisticated, the people realize, and with AI around, take care, everybody. Yeah, AI. I need to do another video about that. That is something that should scare the hell out of everybody. In the Ukraine-Russia war, when they got autonomous drones that are picking their own targets, that's Terminator shit, people. Anyway, nice way to end my stuff, huh? Yep, good to see you too, Sonny. Anyway, yeah, I got rid of Strictly Cycling. He's arguing too much with my J99 sent me a message. I know he started an argument with you and stuff, so I got rid of him. Anyway, but everybody have a great night, and I'll see you Monday night on my live stream, and we'll see what this weekend brings and do my video on. But you live in a big city. Sides, I'm sure you already see in the sides being drawn. So anyway, this is the new world we live in. Welcome to freedom and liberty and your pursuit of happiness according to the way our new government wants it done. Anyway, this is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.